Right, here we
Wait,
go.
you're going to move that up?
Yeah. I kind of put your point about me having to like look over at you like this all the way through,
Well, okay, yeah, sure.
and I'm gonna have like a stiff neck. And this is just so
Are
much
you
of this.
comfortable as well, though?
I feel like I might have to stretch my legs out. I'm probably gonna kick you at some point. Yeah, this is fine, right?
Yeah. Well,
This is all going in the podcast, by the way. This is all part of the podcast.
I'll cut out a lot of the actual podcast.
Yeah, and just have this. This is what the show could be about. Was just us kind of like rearranging
outtakes. Hilarious. These outtakes are even funnier than the podcast.
Yeah, so we're gonna separate podcasts just based on their outtakes. We'll probably discuss this at a later date because we're just burning through time. It's been 2 minutes already.
I might just start. I'm just going to start mine again. Because we don't need two people to record this nonsense.
Oh, this is great. Ready?
No. I'm just always going to be.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah, I'm never ready. Is what I'm saying. Wait.
No. I am podcast man. Okay.
Staying in.
Alright. Staying in. I'm good. Okay, ready.
The Human Torch is denied a bank loan.
Okay. No, I'm ready. I'm good. Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of That 90s Spider-Man Show, the only podcast I can think of which actually covers Spider-Man. I'm your host today, my name is Henry, and alongside us, he's bringing sexy back, but he's forgot the sexy, and he's mistaken the B for a J. It's Jack!
I was really ready to, for that to be funny, but, the kind of thing where you kind of, you chuckle a little bit. But that was just genuinely great.
Thank you. And yeah,
I've been thinking about it all week.
Well, that's what I kind of aim for in any one of these introductions. Anyway, how are you doing today, Jack?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good. Ready for some Spider-Manning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some spider slaying.
Some spider slaying. You say? Well, that's convenient because today we're talking about episode 2, the Spider Slayer, wherein Spider-Man gets targeted by Norman Osborn and
Spencer Smythe,
like a whole load of
Smythe,
the entire the entire Rose Gallery of Spider-Man just shows up and wants to slay the spider. How does this go down? Will Spider-Man survive? We'll find out. Well, we already know, but you'll find out in the next.
They probably already know as well.
They've probably already seen the show,
yeah.
But we will recall
also, you
that.
You could probably guess it.
You probably Google it if you really wanted to.
I can't believe Spider-Man was slain at the end of this episode.
They murdered the fuck out of Spider-Man episode 2, man. This show's it's like Game of Thrones before its time, really. If you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the rest of the show.
It's just Art made us crying.
It's about Harry Osborn.
Oh, great!
And he's not Spider-Man. He's just
Harry Osborn.
Yeah,
with his really shit hair and it's just. Anyway, all things we'll be covering in this next episode of That Nice Spider-Man Show. But for now, let's dive right in. Let's swing right in to this episode, shall we? Get it? Because Spider-Man swings, they get it. They get it. Anyway, so first thing we see is Spider-Man swings to the city, and before we know it, he's attacked by drones.
But he has a weird reaction to the drones because he's kind of he sees them flying around, jet-propulsed drones, going very close to buildings, and he's just kind of he notes them. But then when they start coming after him, that's when he's kind of oh shit, these things want to kill me. What's going on? These aren't just your regular drones. Which
is weird to think about in 1995.
In the mid-90s, drones would freak the shit out of anyone.
You'd be screaming and crying. Imagine showing an iPhone to somebody around in 1995, and that's old hat by now. But having flying drones going around, flying close to buildings, you'd be oh my god, you'd bleed from your eyes. You'd lose your shit. And Spider-Man's still super world weary, and
he's just kind of I'm actually saying that this may be some kind of New York where there's just tech giants like Norman Osborn who are just doing weird shit all the time. So it's kind of drones.
Why not?
But these drones actually like come after him and are targeting him by just like dive bombing him. And he actually gets his ass kind of kicked by like 4 of them. You keep expecting him to sort of roll when he hits the floor or like dodge or something, but he kind of just gets out of the way and just like lands on his face like 4 times.
Yeah, he kind of face plant and just kind of lies there like contemplating his life. But yeah, the first time he encounters them, there's an initial shock, but then very quickly he goes, I'm gonna take photos of them. And it doesn't really make sense in the context.
Takes it on straight on, like from like a meter away.
Yeah.
Hoping to sell these as Peter Parker later.
And like the rationale behind it wouldn't make any sense. Like you can barely believe like Peter Parker going like, oh, I'm near Spider-Man when this happens. But the photos are literally just like this drone flying towards Spider-Man as Spider-Man's face is reflected in its like sensor. How would you explain that? Peter Parker doesn't know. Peter Parker doesn't care.
Yeah, you also think with this Peter Parker, I mean, you took the piss out of it last time, but I think this time it kind of confirms in this episode that he's not really one for excuses.
No.
Despite the fact that he's a superhero, it means that he has to come up with them a lot.
Yeah.
But he kind of just walks into these situations. He probably would have given it in, and then JJ would have said, how'd you get these? And he would have been like,
And then JJ would have come in and been like, oh, this perfectly ridiculous explanation. And Peter would have been like, yeah, sure. And that's, I feel, is going to be a recurring theme in this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Peter's going to have no plan whatsoever, and everyone's going to be dumb around him. And I'm all for that, to be honest. But yeah,
that makes it less depressing.
It makes it less depressing. That like
his life isn't being constantly ruined by his exploits.
Yeah, everyone around him is just kind of making excuses for him because they kind of feel bad for him. Like, you think about it, he's lost his uncle, he's kind of just, like, acting weird all the time, he's got this job. Like, let's give the kid a break.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably not Spider-Man.
Well, I don't... Did they ever mention Uncle Ben? I mean, I'm sure Aunt May probably mentions it in dialogue, right?
I don't think in this episode, no.
But, I mean, at some point. But he doesn't actually show up. Like,
no.
You never see him, right?
No, he's long gone. Like, his body's cold, it's, like, rotting away at this point. Like,
I think Aunt May says that later.
Yeah.
She's like, as you know, Peter, my husband is currently rotting away in the cemetery.
Worms are eating his face.
And then Peter's like, please stop saying that.
You're really freaking me out, Aunt May.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to be reminded of his death.
Please, I'm trying to have a shower, Aunt May.
Yeah.
But I digress. So, Peter Parker, he's got his photos, and he heads right over JD Beagle, but before he does that, we head to this random warehouse in the middle of nowhere, where Norman Osborn is pissed off because the drones he tried once failed, and the old man next to him is trying to hunt Spider-Man. This is the start of the Spider Slayer plot.
Yeah, you've got Spencer Smythe. He's inventing giant robots and drones to take down Spider-Man, and he's doing it for Norman Osborn, who's funding this whole operation, but Norman Osborn doesn't really... He's not evil here. He's just a businessman, but he's got some background deals going on that we find out a little bit later. And he's just, he needs this done. And he just says, Spider-Man's a criminal. He's a vigilante. You want to take him in. Don't want to kill him. Just take him in.
Just take him in.
And then Spencer Smythe is like, yeah, sure. And then my son, Alistair, he's just here. Like, I don't know if he helps at this point. I mean, we know that he knows his stuff. I don't know if he actually is involved in this, if he's just gonna... He's
literally here just to, like, sit there. Like, they couldn't afford a babysitter. And Alistair's like, come on, Dad, I'm 35 years old. But, like,
I mean, he probably is 35.
Like, he's got, like, haircuts from, like, the 80s. He's got a mullet in this.
It's a really bad mullet. But,
it's a terrible mullet.
It's not... Yeah, mullets aren't great as it is, but this one's really bad.
It's like he's trying to do it himself.
Yeah.
It's like he gave himself a haircut and he was like, actually, he gave up halfway through and was like, you know what? They need to do half of this hair.
He looks... It's like the top of it is like this Forrest Gump haircut, but then the back of it is like Nicolas Cage and Con Air. It's like really like straggly. It's a really weird combination.
Yeah, it's like business in the front and like cocaine party in the back.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure on all of them to get this done. It's a bit tense, but what happens then? So then Norman Osborn kind of goes like, get it done! I need this by Monday, whatever. And then it's immediately revealed that he's actually middle management. And he goes right to the Kingpin and says, well, they're working on this Spider Slayer. And you kind of go back and you see this big, like, looming shadow. And the Kingpin's there. And he's
He's huge, as you might expect.
And he has an amazing voice. I love the voice acting of this guy.
He's fucking great.
I actually think, obviously Vincent D'Onofrio is a great Kingpin and everything.
Yeah.
The Kingpin in Spider-Verse, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
But this one, I think, is pretty good as well, in a very goofy way, because obviously he's in a Saturday morning cartoon, so he can't kill someone by crushing their head with a car door or anything like that.
I think that's probably one of the deleted scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, he just kind of points at things and makes angry declarations, and I think he probably throws his desk around quite a lot.
Not in this episode, but yeah, I imagine he's got a desk guy who's just being massively overworked.
Yeah. It's just... and there's some bear hugs later. But...
Oh yeah, don't forget the bear hugs. He's a very affectionate boss, I've heard.
But yeah, he's great. He's quite threatening in this, I think, still.
Yeah.
I mean, also you got Eddie Brock coming in, right?
Yeah, Eddie Brock's also a part of this because
they're thinking about the media angle as well.
I'd imagine they weren't, and Eddie Brock was just caught wind of it, and he was like, "Guys, can I be in it? Can I be in it?" And they were like, "If you don't say yes, we're gonna get rid of this asshole." And they were like, "Fine."
This is another step for Eddie Brock into the more sleazy side of things. Yeah. He's kind of cementing that's what he wants to do.
Yeah,
and
he's saying this is the Brock report.
And also you got this whole thing is interesting because you think, how are they going to start this show? First episode, we were kind of surprised that they jumped right into the lizard, but it's still just a one villain plot.
Yeah.
This time, we're introduced to quite a few villains all at once.
Half the road gallery.
Yeah, and they're also at various stages of their trajectory. We know that shit's going to go down with Alistair Smythe. We know stuff is going to happen with Norman Osborn and Eddie Brock, but we're all just sowing the seeds here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of world building, and then last time we got to see the Daily Bugle and the university a little bit. This time we see Felicia Hardy when she comes into
the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
And yeah, Felicia Hardy comes into the Daily Bugle, and for some reason she wants to have a party, and she wants J. Jonah Jameson to kind of help her bring this party together. It's for her
it's going to be in his apartment, is it?
I am hoping that's his apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of hosting this
party.
charity gig, and her mother's very powerful.
And J. Jonah Jameson, I'm getting the feeling he hates her guts. He's just angry for this entire exchange.
I'd be a bit mad at her as well, because she does kind of come in and say, "Oh, my mother said this, my mother said that." She's very obviously some privileged girl.
If you were J. Jonah Jameson in that situation, you'd kind of be like, "Okay, little girl, let's get this over with." And at this point, and what I love about this scene is you got Robbie Robertson. Before he was token black guy, but here he's Captain Exposition. And he tells us very, very kindly that, "Oh, Miss Hardy is this big socialite, blah, blah, blah." And you're like, "Oh, I get why this is good." And I think this is, I wouldn't say well written, but it's good for, just tell you where everything's going.
Yeah, they're very much a lot of this is world building in this episode, just to, get things moving, and then they kind of go, okay, well, if that's what we're going to do, then the villain is going to be something that's quite uncomplicated. Someone is motivated to use their robots to attack someone.
Yeah.
That person can be Spencer Smythe, because he made Spider Slayers in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to have a robot that's going to kill people, you have to have motivation, otherwise why are you doing it?
Yeah, because it would be complicated if they were introducing Felicia Hardy and introducing these starts of the rogue gallery, and then it's the actual episode is about the creation of the Scorpion or something.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. That'd be the result of someone clicking the wrong link in a video or something like that.
Yeah, that would be the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with glowing things.
Yeah, immediately just it becomes a goddamn mess. But this doesn't become a goddamn mess, which I'm thankful for. But J. Jonah Jameson is not happy when Felicia asks him for a photographer. J. Jonah Jameson tells her that he's bringing his best, but he's bringing Peter Parker. And at this point, Peter Parker's just in the lobby, just grumbling about something, because he's always complaining. So everyone's kind of lumped in together. It's going to be nice and convenient.
Well, Kingpin is given a scene here, right?
I think he's after this, or is he where they go to... No, not after this, before this, rather. After Norman meets with Alistair Smythe. And Kingpin's we kind of name checks every one of his evil, corporate syndication things. And it actually reminded me a little bit of, do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where there's, that fat guy in a really hot room? And he goes, I've got my offshore illegal account. And he said, oh, crap, I should have said I was a customer. Oh, crap, I shouldn't have said it was illegal. Oh, crap, I shouldn't say it was a secret. And it's kind of like that, but without the sudden contrition at the end. And he's like, okay, if anyone, listens to you, you're kind of screwed here. If the Brock report is, running in the background.
Well, Kingpin's, I always forgot about this, but his lair is in the Chrysler building.
In the Chrysler building, really?
Yeah. I'm starting to think about it later. think there's something where the front of it comes down like a moat. Like
almost drawbridges.
Yeah, and it becomes like a like the Iron Man Avengers Tower, like a Quinjet sort of landing, that kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is a really weird thing to do. You know, taking a real building and putting...
If, like, Donald Trump did that on Trump Tower and just had, like a thingy there, you'd be like, oh,
he's
shit.
probably going to do it. I mean, he'd do it and then people would be like, well, that's normal.
And he could, literally, make his own, spider slayer. And
yeah, he's funding these spider slayers, but there's no Spider-Man. And it was like, that's fine. It's fine,
yeah. For now, we're kind of talking about... Actually, no, we're actually right there, actually. We're talking about the final touch of the Spider Slayer, which is this giant, spider robot, which doesn't need to be a spider.
Yeah.
There's no point in it.
But it gets to be called the Black Widow, which is
cool.
If Natasha Romanoff didn't exist, would be a really cool name.
Yeah. But they kind of commit to this, Black Widow theme where, all the practical aspects of the robot are very non-spider based.
Mm.
And if it's not even practical, it's just because we wanted to have, a spider theme here.
But yeah, it hovers around and it doesn't really use its legs other than when it lands, which is kind of slow and bulky.
Yeah.
So it really seems like this would have gone down a lot better for them if they just, I don't know, maybe...
Giving it wheels?
Yeah, just a box on wheels and some jets to fly around and just guns on it, and it would have been better. But instead they had to...
They got acid coming out of it, but spiders don't produce acid.
Yeah, well...
It kind of squirts ink at some point.
I don't think it spurts out ink.
Ink or oil or something like that.
Maybe oil, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
It would be confusing if it did ink, then that's like an octopus thing.
I don't think that Spencer Smythe knows what a spider is.
No.
I think it's just
Do you think he named it Black Widow and he's like, with a lot of gravitas, it's named the Black Widow, and everyone else there is like, and Alistair's like, yeah, great name, Dad. Yeah, no one has that name.
No one has
that
name.
That's fine. He's really proud of himself.
He's like, I did good, son? He's like, you did good, Dad. You did good. He's too old to be here, is Spencer Smythe. I'm all for, the plus 60s, but he's out of his depth.
Yeah, we don't actually really... With Spencer Smythe, all we really get is that he's an inventor, he's being funded by Osborn, and it's revealed that his motivation behind this is he wants to create a hoverchair for Alistair, who, is wheelchair-bound, and have a hoverchair because that's better. I don't know.
That money could have gone towards, haircut or something like that.
I don't know what the technology was in the 90s, but, an electric chair would be fine. Why does it have to be a hoverchair? I
don't know what, benefits that would have.
Yeah. Maybe, I guess if you really wanted a hoverchair, it would be stupid expensive to make it.
But,
and Norman Osborn isn't just going to fund a wheelchair, he's going to fund a giant spider. So, that's his only real motivation. We know he's an inventor. He's doing this for his son. He's here to serve his purpose, and then...
Yeah.
And then he will leave.
He's got a one-trick pony. So then Norman goes to the Crisis Building and meets with the Kingpin. He tells him the Black Widow is complete, that he can actually create a spider-slaying machine. And the Kingpin is obviously delighted. He's like, I've got all these evil corporations, and if I can't do this... if I can't beat Spider-Man in my own hometown, how can I dominate the world? Yeah,
because he's the real one being affected by Spider-Man's actions at this point.
Yeah, no one cares.
We got last time.
Yeah.
The only real weird stuff he's faced is the lizard.
Yeah.
So the person that's actually getting messed up by this is the Kingpin, who's obviously got all these crimes under his name, and they're constantly being foiled because Spider-Man has nothing else to do but actually fight regular crime.
Yeah, he's just kind of saving people from cars and almost killing them in the process. Saving people from banks, that kind of thing. From people robbing banks rather than banks. He's not going to stop the banks from screwing everyone in 2008, for example. That's not Spider-Man's MO. But yeah!
I loved his cameo in The Big Short.
He kind of swung in, he kind of webbed up the pen before they signed the housing contract, be like, don't sign, that's a bogus deal!
Yeah, it was really sad when Steve Carell tearfully tells him, you could have done more. And Spider-Man learns the power of responsibility for the 80th time.
After he causes the housing crisis.
Oh, he causes it?
I feel inadvertently by trying to do the right thing.
Right.
He was there, but Peter Parker wasn't there, and therefore Aunt May signs this bogus mortgage deal.
Oh, right. Oh, that's too much.
She loses her entire inheritance from Uncle Ben on his house.
I think if he did that, he'd have an anxiety attack and die.
His head would explode. But thankfully, they cut his role because it was too traumatizing. That's actually what tanked the Sony Spider-Man deal, was that particular cameo role.
Yeah, it was a bad look.
It was a bad look. They were we're going to have all these kind of things going on in a Spider-Man film, but we cannot have Spider-Man causing the housing crisis. That's too much.
It's not good for the brand.
Not good for the brand, no. So the charity ball comes in, and Felicia's going around being social, and then she spots none other than Peter Parker. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about, like, the first appearance in this show of someone I just completely revile, and he's got terrible hair, and I don't know why his hair is so terrible, and I don't know why he's so snivelly and useless, but Harry Osborn is here for, like, 10 seconds talking to Flash Thompson.
Norman Osborn's hair.
Let's get into this.
I think you can't look at it for too long, because as soon as you start thinking about it, that's when it gets weird, because it's red and black, horizontally striped hair that's still very short.
Because it would look stupid if it was long.
If that was just his hair, it's one thing. But I think back in the comics, they introduced Norman Osborn, and he was around for a bit. Then Peter goes to university, and he meets Harry Osborn, who has the same hair. You can understand maybe in a comic they're trying to identify them in some way, and they just made a strange decision.
Yeah.
But they've stuck with it in every, apart from the movies where they can't do that in live action.
There's no CG like alive which can do that kind of like shenanigans with someone's head.
Yeah, because the closest it's to is like cornrows, right?
But like sideways cornrows.
Yeah, and dark red and black.
Yeah. It looks like Dennis the Menace kind of lost his shirt, and then Norman Osborn put it on his head. It's like a do-rag, and then kind of shaped it. To look like
the more you think about it, the weirder it gets though, because you're like, if this is just Norman Osborn, then whatever, he can have a million reasons for doing his hair in a very specific, quirky way.
Yeah.
But when it's his son as well, you think, did his hair grow like that? if his hair grew like that, then that's some very strange genetic thing, because no one else on the whole planet has that. That's really notable, mutation.
He's like an X-Man.
Yeah, he's one of the worst, because they have that in X-Men, don't they? They just have, some of the mutants just suck because they don't have any powers, they just have a beak.
Yeah.
And they just, it's literally, I don't know if you know, there's actually a mutant. I think he's called Beak.
Well, that's awesome.
And he just kind of, he looks like a bird man, but he can't fly or do anything.
He just has a beak. Is it
He just gets the prejudice and nothing else.
What kind of beak is it? Is it like a bird of prey? Is it like a finch kind of beak? We can crack open nuts and eat seeds really easily.
What seeds are you gonna eat with it? Like some gigantic nut?
Like walnuts, I guess.
Yeah, but if you got think about how big this beak is. It's not gonna be helpful for anything.
Avocados, coconuts.
Yeah, you can eat coconuts better than anyone else. Everyone else has trouble with coconuts, and he has no trouble at all. But every other part of his life sucks so much.
But when the X-Men need a coconut open then and there, if we don't open the coconut, the president's gonna die.
Yeah, but then
Beak's this is my moment to shine.
He feels like the token Beak guy. No one knows my name, but then Wolverine's like, hey, open this coconut for me. And he's like, oh, fucking fifth time today. He's like, my name is Andrew.
Open the coconut, man. Wolverine's gonna thirst him for the coconut, man. He wants sweet coconut water. That's how he stays so young. That's his healing factor. He drinks some coconut water. Yeah. It makes him strong.
It's good for you.
Yeah, I've heard it's great for you.
And he's Canadian. Good healthcare.
I suppose, yeah. But even if you're Wolverine, you just use your claws. You don't need the whole beak man. But they kind of brings him in because he's just...
Well, you don't want to get all that coconut water all over your claws.
He was lick it off,
Yeah, but then those got to go back in his skin.
Yeah, and that must really hurt. Yeah. And it gets all sticky around as the bit where...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'd be agony. Even more agony than Wolverine is in constantly.
Anyway, going back to the mutant we've got on this show, which is Harry Osborn.
And Norman Osborn.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's either some weird mutation, or he's choosing to do it, which means Harry's either got this weird thing of oh, my dad has this specific thing he's doing, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. Or maybe Norman's made him do it.
They go to the barber together, and Harry Osborn's like, I want to get a mullet, Dad! He's like, have you seen Spencer Smythe? No, you can't get a mullet. You're getting what Daddy gets.
I mean, it's...
And they got this one, colourblind barber they have. It's kind of he's not really qualified to do what he's doing. It's kind of yeah.
I feel like even if you were colourblind, you'd do it better, though. You have to very deliberately not give a shit.
Yeah.
So you've got these two options, right? Which is a rare genetic disorder, or...
some kind of sadistic choice.
Yeah, or some strange father-son relationship that goes beyond even goblins.
It's just love at this point. Love and shitty haircuts.
Yeah, it's just complete coincidence that this guy with crazy hair also becomes a Green Goblin later on.
I think it's the hair that does it. Like, that's also the goblin hair.
Yeah.
Like, if he just shaved his head, he would have been, like, fine.
You got a hair transplant that drove him crazy. like Tobias in Arrested Development.
And he just suddenly dies. Oh yeah, like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where, like, Norman Osborn dies of a mysterious disease, the Goblin disease, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, maybe that's what his hair actually is.
Man, what were they... I mean, we've already done it quite a lot so far, but what was going on in that movie? Because their version of the Green Goblin was that he had a Green Goblin disease that makes you a bit green and kills you.
Or it doesn't kill you.
And then you have to put on a suit to save you. But the suit, while we're making this suit that sustains your life, it might as well have like battle armor on it, and it might as well come with a glider and some bombs and some gadgets and stuff. Just why not? Like just throw it in there. Just ready so that you can later on just go, it's the end of the movie, I have to be the Green Goblin to literally just appear and kill Gwen Stacy and then just disappear again.
Like Mark, where you like kind of like look over like the scripts and like Dana Harmon's going like, oh fuck. Mark comes out of his depth. Why did they hire this guy? Because his name was Webb. We're so fucked.
I feel bad for Dane Harmon because I think he was actually like great casting as Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
I think he's believable as like the privileged kid.
There's like snivelling rage about him.
Yeah, but he's also like, you can see him as, I mean, he had that in Chronicle, like someone who's had this horrible relationship with his father and his resentment there, that works. You can see him also as being kind of a bit charming and a bit charismatic in some ways, but then also creepy, a bit of a Patrick Bateman sort of.
Yeah, well, he's got some serious issues. Yeah, he's not all there.
And then also, was it Chris Cooper as Norman Osborn? I think that was a great choice, but he just sat in a bed.
Just died immediately, pretty much.
Yeah. Like,
muttered some lines. Do you reckon they weren't going for the hair, and then Dane like punched the hairbrush in the throat and was like, no, that's not going on my head.
Oh, God. I mean, there's no way. People wouldn't even be angry about appropriation or anything, because they'd be like, what is that?
What is going on with that guy's head? It
looks like he's, like, bleeding. There's something wrong with his head.
It's a scabby.
Oh God, it's horrible.
It's like a skin disease on his scalp, which has just gone haywire.
I mean, as much as I want to talk about this, I feel like we've maybe talked about the hair for like half an hour.
It's a very, very important topic.
And this all starts with the fact that Harry Osborn enters the party along with Flash Thompson, who I couldn't remember if he was even in the show, but apparently he is.
Like, you've got to have someone who hates Peter but loves Spider-Man.
And he actually ends up following an interesting arc in this, which is actually a callback to the comics.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll get to that. But, so, at this point, Felicia meets Flash, they're kind of, like, implied to be, like, kind of seeing each other.
Yeah.
But then, Felicia looks over to the other end of the party, and who does she see but Peter Parker? And Felicia is obviously kind of into Peter at this point. And she goes, who's Peter with? And that's when Peter brings out his Aunt May.
His Aunt May, who, you see her bring him in, you're like, maybe that's sweet. It's not really the cool move, but it's
a very Peter Parker move.
Yeah, and it's a nice thing to do to bring your aunt to that.
Yeah, it's very sweet of him.
As we were watching it, I was like almost going to make a joke about how she's a terrible guest, but she immediately proves it.
Because she starts talking shit right away.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, how'd you like this? We're in like this amazing like penthouse.
Yeah.
Like
you're at a socialite party.
Yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, I'd rather be at home watching soaps.
Isn't it incredible? Just like I told you.
It's nice, Peter, but I'd be just as happy watching my cable TV.
I think it's meant to take it as like, oh, she's not all about this like high-class life. And maybe that's how she meant it, but it really just comes across as this horrible emotional manipulation of, this place is shit, why did you bring me here?
No, even she's like, yeah, like I could do anything else. You should have brought that, like, Mary Jane girl, you pussy.
Did she bring up Mary Jane?
She brings up Mary Jane. She's like, yeah, you should have brought that Mary Jane girl instead of me.
So that's the first reference we've had to her, right?
Yeah, like it kind of just slipped in there. It's very similar to the comics in that way, isn't it?
Oh, I wonder if there's the face it tiger, you hit the jackpot.
I think it's at the blind date bit.
I do love that.
It's fantastic.
But talking about the dating aspect, the whole thing with Felicia and Flash is actually reminds me a lot of the stuff in the comics, because I'm currently in the 80s, not the decade, the issues.
Okay, so number 80.
I just hit 1970.
Okay.
So I'm reading through that, and there's a lot of this soap opera stuff. Felicia Hardy isn't in it yet, but they have the same dynamic of all these guys and girls meeting up. They all go to university with each other, and they're all kind of dating, but no one's actually like solidly dating.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the vibe you get here, because it's weird, because I feel like they're trying to go for this sort of swinging 60s pre-love sort of thing in the comics a little bit, but also so they don't actually have to commit to anything, because they want, oh, maybe we'll have Peter date this person in 30 issues, but we don't know yet, so we're not going to confirm anything.
Kind of just like leave a lot of doors open and see what happens.
Yeah, so which is why, like, when you see the bit where Felicia is clearly sort of flirting a bit with Flash and they have a bit of chemistry there, but then she kind of looks over at Peter and he's kind of like annoyed about it, but then later kind of expresses like, oh, knew this would happen. It's kind of very much of what would happen there, but usually it wouldn't be Flash. It would be Harry Osborn.
Because he sucks and everyone leaves him.
It would be Harry Osborn coming in and he's like talking to Gwen Stacy, and then Peter shows up and she's like, oh, Peter's here, and then Mary Jane's like, oh, Peter's here, and they both run over and like Harry Osborn's like, get a load of this guy. Yeah. Why does everyone love him so much?
Maybe he has normal hair, Harry. Maybe because he has like normal coloured hair with like...
He's literally, there's two eligible bachelors. There's Peter and Flash goes to Vietnam.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so...
There's Peter and then there's scalpy-haired, bleeding Harry Osborn.
As he's known.
Yeah, I think it's canon now, actually. They called him for that for a little bit, and that's what drove him to become the Green Goblin. Yeah, so... Scalpy head aside, Flash Thompson is pissed off that Peter like stole his girl with an old lady on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's clearly not macking on her or anything, because why would he do that in front of his aunt? He's just like, Felicia's come over to him. It's very much like the early comics where Liz Allen was always with Flash, and then Liz Allen would go, oh, I love you, Petey. He'd be like, what? Why are you talking to me? I'm just a nerd. And then Flash would be like, well, I'm going to go be at Parker now, because my girlfriend talked at him. Which is kind of a little bit of what's going on here.
Flash is a bit insecure.
Although Peter's so much more self-confident.
Yeah. Like, if I was Felicia Hardy, I would leave Flash for Peter Parker. Like, look at it. He's, like, towering over Flash Thompson, which is something you kind of, like, touched upon in episode 0, but, like, goddamn. But no, Flash Thompson, he's a bit, like...
Getting vapors.
Yeah, man, damn. So, Flash Thompson, in a way, like, in a revenge move that he's probably planned ahead of time, he kind of takes Harry to the back of... Yeah. Like, I hope he has. Unless he's got like a Spider-Man costume in like the back of his car, because we have to talk about that.
I mean, he probably does, because Flash... I'm not sure what reference they make to him being a huge fan of his, but...
It's something that comes up a lot.
Yeah, but he's a huge fan. He's like, in the comics, he founds the Spider-Man fan club, which has like 5 people in it, because everyone hates Spider-Man. But he has this suit in his car, and he goes to put it on just to mess with Peter.
Just to fuck with Peter, I guess.
Because he can put it on and say, hey, why are you taking these photos of me? And make a big scene, which is a quite good setup, considering Peter 100% knows it isn't Spider-Man, but can't act like he does.
So he kind of has to like just like be very kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Spider-Man.
Which is quite funny, actually, the way he acts, because he manages to pull it off somehow on top. But at the same time, when he first sees him, he, without a second... He just points in and goes, oh, it's Spider-Man. But he's an imposter to Felicia.
And Felicia's like, how do you know? He's like,
Felicia, it's just some imposter.
Well, how would you know that?
Yeah, maybe it really is him.
It must be a real thing.
Yeah, it must be him. Oh, God. Sorry. She doesn't think for a second, wait, you take photos of Spider-Man and you know it's an imposter. I mean, the next step would be, you know who Spider-Man is.
But it's like everyone in the show is just giving Peter lots of like room.
Yeah.
So the most important thing about this scene though is that as Flash puts on the Spider-Man costume, the Spider Slayer robots show up and they see Flash as Spider-Man, and for some reason they're like based on visual technology instead of like pheromones or like anything other than like something like an old man would kind of mistake for being Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like flying by the window and they just spot.
This must be the Spider-Man I'm talking about.
When the destruction starts and it crashes into the building, it does make for some good moments of like, a pillar collapses, there's a lot of rubble everywhere. Which one's the real Spider-Man? But we just see this Spider-Man here, so we're going to take it because we don't know what just happened.
Yeah. So like, at this point, Flash as Spider-Man kind of shows up, talks shit to Peter, and he says something on the lines of like, oh, what do you want me to say? The best part is Peter kind of goes, like, mimics him, without realising what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what would you like me to say?
Yeah. Ah!
Okay.
Which is really hard to tell whether at what level he is, whether he's 100% clueless and going with it, whether he's kind of knows what's going on and is taking a piss, or if he's just like 100%, I know that shit's about to go down, but I'm going to take this second to take the piss out of you.
People could die, but I need to fuck with you a little bit more. I think he's 100% fucking with him.
Yeah.
Like, his spider sense goes off like 10 seconds before.
This Spider-Man, he's really growing on me because he's constantly joking, and the jokes are pretty great every time, and if they're not really funny, they're at least just this kind of just snark, which I really like. And I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like maybe the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man actually got closest to it, because I can't really think much of Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man has like the
first scene with the bank robbers where he takes the piss, but then I don't really remember him doing it, say, when he's fighting the Vulture or whatever, because it's a far more serious thing. Yeah. The same thing with the Raimi movies. It kind of, when he gets into a serious fight, it's kind
he's very serious about it.
I mean, or he might make a joke or two, but it's like drawing a pause in the combat. Whereas I quite like, in here, it's kind of...
He's constantly just mouthing off.
Yeah, and it's great as well, because it kind of undercuts the fact that they've simplified a lot of the villains in a way of like, I will destroy you, and then he can...
just talk shit.
Yeah, which is something they kind of do in the Stanley comics as well. Yeah. It's a great way of just... I think I read a comment the other day that was just like someone saying like, this will be the last of you, Spider-Man, or something like that, and he's just like, oh, I'm so sick of people saying that to me. And they just kind of do that kind of thing of like, we know that this is a trope now, but we can point it out and kind of lampshade it.
Yeah, like it's like a Spider-Man who's kind of aware that he's not aware he's in a comic, but aware that he's like gonna meet his villain of the week. Like we said last time, he's a bit world weary. He's kind of like going on like, okay, what next?
Well, that's why I'm looking forward more to like the later episodes when he's met a bunch of his rogue gallery. So it's kind of like, oh, Scorpion again, rather than like utmost surprise.
This guy like in a Scorpion costume trying to kill me. Once that kind of settles in, he's like, oh, these people are now like, you're kind of like, oh, this guy's back. But at this point, he's just kind of just in this party, and Peter Parker's first instinct, as you might expect, is to protect Aunt May. But this pisses Felicia Hardy off. Yeah. She's like, why are you leaving me for your dear aunt who's your only family left, Peter? You asshole.
She reminds me a bit of Betty Brant in the comics, which is Spider-Man's first girlfriend, which is just some understandable reasons for being upset or whatever, but always finding this really strange, selfish reason for it. Yeah. But with Peter hiding his aunt, there's actually one of the smarter moves he's done so far, because it's kind of like, well, I get to protect my aunt to everyone else. This looks good. I'm protecting my family member. My aunt doesn't get hurt. Also, I'm giving myself an excuse to go change. Yeah. Whereas, unfortunately, like other situations, he just has to run away, and then everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're a huge coward." Yeah. I'm currently in the coward arc of the comics, which is Coward Saga, where there's been like 8 issues in a row of Gwen Stacy just having a bit of a meltdown because my boyfriend is a complete coward, because literally every time anything remotely dangerous goes down, he just sprints away from the action, and then he comes back later on when it's all sorted, and I'm like, oh, where were you? And he's just like, oh, I don't know, like I went to take some photos. Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay.
I almost died, boyfriend. Oh, but you didn't. Go look at these photos, Gwen. And she's like bleeding from the head because like a rock like struck her in the forehead.
Yeah, I mean, it does get to a point where I was like, it's very irresponsible, but I would 100% just be like, I'm Spider-Man.
My ego couldn't take it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, I really like you, and I'm really sick of looking like a huge douchebag in front of you. I'm not a coward. I'm actually like so brave. I'm really cool and powerful.
But no one would believe you. They'd be like, bullshit, you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, but then you just like, do a flip.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is still the best bit of Homecoming by a country mile.
Do it, flip, Spider-Man. Yeah!
It's so good.
But no, Felicia's mad at him because her boyfriend, the guy she's like trying to like cozy up to, just ran away at the first sign of danger to save his aunt. But he says, go in here, Aunt May, and she's like, okay, whatever, motherfucker. I'm gonna watch my shows in here. She's happy. Peter's happy. And J. Jonah Jameson is not happy because his photographer is not here and shit's going down.
And then once the Black Widow comes in, it starts knocking shit down. Flash, still in his Spider-Man costume, hit by some debris. Yeah. Knocked out while Spider-Man tries to duke it out.
With this Black Widow even. And that's a good point, actually. Is that the Black Widow the Spider Slayer? Or is the Spider Slayer the little drones? Because it's not really made very clear
I think they say like, "Oh, this is my spider slayer," and then they later go,
But this is a Black Widow.
"Yeah, I think those drones are just drones. They're not."
But why don't you have
spider
two like marketing names for this giant robot you made?
Well, I mean, I think it's more of it's a franchise because, I mean, as in the comics and as in the show, there are more Spider Slayers to come.
Oh, okay.
This isn't the Spider Slayer, despite the fact the title of the episode is the Spider Slayer.
It's just a necessary complication in an episode which didn't need to be there. What happened to Black Widow? The Spider Slayer is like, it doesn't make any
It
sense.
could have just been called the Spider Slayer.
And that either or would have been fine, but they went for both, and it's just confusing. But this, like, impractical robot, like a box with legs, so it dukes out with Spider-Man, like, shit gets screwed up, and before long, they've lost Spider-Man. Where's Spider-Man, they say? Spencer Smythe kind of, like, surveys the scene, and then he moves past Spider-Man, and they're like, go back, you dumb motherfucker! And they go, that's Spider-Man, and they carry him away. J.J. Jameson goes into a room, and then Aunt May's there, watching TV.
Yeah.
And right away, they have this news like feed going on, a press conference.
Ah, right, yeah.
And what's happened in this press conference, they've captured the Spider-Man, and Eddie Brock is going to unmask him live on TV.
Which JJ is kind of, he responds to this as like, and he still hasn't expressed any like explicit anti-Spider-Man stuff. He's as anti-Spider-Man as, say, Norman Osborn. Just like, oh, he's a criminal. I don't like him.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of understandable at this point. And he goes, well, okay, this is fine. And he was doing all this to capture Spider.
He nearly killed everyone in my house.
Yeah, and he destroyed so much property. But I guess Jameson is maybe thinking about the money he would make from this.
It wouldn't be that much.
I mean, it must be. Because he's talking about, he says it would cost him $1 million to repair.
Like, how many like newspapers would we have to sell to make that money back? Like, a newspaper's like, what, like 79 cents? Everyone in New York would have to buy like a newspaper.
But also this is going out live on TV. Yeah. I mean, it mustn't be affiliated with Daily Bugle. Otherwise, Jameson would have known about it before it went on TV. So this isn't necessarily, he's going to be unmasked on TV on a different network. He's not making any money on it at all.
Unless it's a Brock report. I'm like...
Yeah, but either way, he's kind of like, oh, okay, that's fine.
You just blew up my house for something I'm not going to get any kind of benefit from whatsoever. Sure, Eddie Brock.
But this is where it becomes clear what Eddie Brock's angle is. He's like, well, this is, the scoop of the century.
Yeah. I'm going to be the best journalist in the whole world. So yeah, they have like a live feed, and they go and like, they take off Spider-Man's mask. And it's obviously not Peter Parker because, again, like, that would be kind of like a bit of a downer for the rest of the episode, was him just getting hounded by the Kingpin for like 63 episodes. That'd be terrible.
And then you get, well, the whole angle that Spencer and Norman Osborn were going for was that they were going to apprehend Spider-Man and give him to the cops. But then in come all these armed guards.
Described as men, eloquently by Eddie Brock.
Yeah, all these men.
There's these men.
But they...
There's actually raiding men in here.
But they are like, for someone like the Kingpin, it's organised crime in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, he's thinking big picture. But the Kingpin has all these guards wearing these very like ridiculous uniforms with like helmets.
Yeah.
Like they got helmets almost like the
they're like Judge Dredd's.
Judge Dredd's, or like the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
But they're still like, they've got these like thug stock voices.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man game thug voices. But they've got these like crazy uniforms at the same time.
These blasters.
And fucking laser guns as well, which is, there's no
bullets.
There's no bullets in this like I can think of. There's just explosions and lasers.
And Eddie Brock is kind of like, look at all these men in here. They kind of smack down his like cameraman's camera.
Oh, we forgot to cover at this point, but I mentioned before, Norman's stake in this is that he has to pay off a huge loan to the Kingpin. His way of paying off is like, I'll catch a Spider-Man for you. And that way I don't owe you any money. But then if he doesn't capture Spider-Man, he's going to lose his company.
He gives Kingpin his company, which is a really weird thing to kind of gamble on, but Norman does it, so he's got a big investment in what's going to go down.
Yeah, but he still thought they were going to give it over to the police, but turns out like these guards come in and he's like realising he's been sort of betrayed.
Yeah.
But then, as they come to take on Flash, the real Spider-Man
shows up back at the party.
Oh yeah, he shows up at the party first.
Yeah, he's kind of like, well, I guess there's two of me now. And he's loving this shit as Spider-Man. He's kind of like, oh, look at how you fucked up. Like, he starts talking a lot of shit to Jameson, and I really appreciate the banter they have, because Jameson is just getting angrier and angrier at this man. Like,
and he's just using this this time where he could be like doing a lot.
He's saving Flash.
Yeah, to just like shit talk the Bugle as a tabloid, which is just really great.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Eddie Brock just made my whole company look like jerks. Not hard to do.
I think there's something even more satisfying about it today than back then with the way those tabloids have gone.
Super clickbaity.
But he leaves, he goes off to find them from this point, right?
Yeah, he goes off to save Flash.
And then when he arrives in like a scary way. It's like almost like, I mean, Batman can't do this, but if Batman could, this is the way he would enter, which is he just like peels the door back in this terrifying way because he doesn't rip it off its hinges or knock it down.
He just grabs the center and just pulls it away like a cloth.
It bends in the center and just like falls away, and then these two guys just come out like, hey, what was that?
They were like, it must be like a wind or something like that, like a Metal Gear Solid game, but like on easy mode. And they watch this like door get like imploded in front of them, like, must be a mouse or something.
One thing I would know here is something I read earlier.
Yeah. And
I was trying to watch in this episode, but you know how we mentioned before about how they don't say kill in this show? It's always destroy, annihilate, that kind of thing. Apparently, Spider-Man doesn't punch in this show.
Doesn't punch?
He doesn't punch. But from what I watched in this episode, there's a lot of webbing up. There's a lot of throwing things.
Yeah.
And he definitely like lands on people and kicks.
He does a lot of kicking, yeah.
But I didn't notice any punching. I mean, maybe it happens later, and maybe if it does happen, it's to a supervillain that makes it different. But there's some sort of weird code that they're following here.
That's why I can't punch him.
I feel like maybe there'd be some sense aboard that is fine with him punching Venom in the face, but maybe not cool with him punching regular guy in the face.
Or like doing a Spider-Man 3 and punching Mary Jane.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. So, like, no punching whatsoever. Pulls no punches. Pulls every punch, if you think about it. But yeah, so at this point, Norman Osborn's like, you fucking idiot, Spencer. And Spencer Smythe is just, he's done at this point. He's out of his depth. And he goes to operate the Spider Slayer / the Black Widow.
Well, he's told right by Norman. Oh, what's the line? It was, no Spider Splat, no Hoverchair.
That's the line verbatim.
Hey, remember our deal? No Spider Splat, no Hoverchair. All right.
Which is very, very, very wise of him, really. It's a very, like...
It's a very easy way to summarize the motivation there. But that means that despite this whole building being aflame, he goes to the operating thing. And, well, actually, no.
No, the henchman does it. He runs over to this...
He tells him, he goes, oh, okay, I'll tell you how to operate this complicated machine. There's a red button on it.
Just press the red button.
Yeah.
And the giant Black Widow, like, spider murdering machine comes to life. What I like about this is that how the henchman was kind of like, yeah, sure, okay. I'm just kind of here for the shits and giggles. I'm getting paid overtime for this. Because they immediately lose their, like...
100% do that.
Yeah. He'd be like, fuck it, sure.
Like, what, am I going to shoot my gun at Spider-Man and get my ass kicked? Or do I commandeer this giant Spider Slayer? But Spencer kind of stays behind, and I don't know if he's operating it or he's doing something now.
I don't think he's doing anything.
Because he's at the console.
He's just, like, looking at, like, Spider-Man through the camera, but it's not helping.
Yeah, he's like looking through the camera with Spider-Man actually behind him.
Yeah. And, like, the whole building's aflame beside him. Like, there's no fire extinguisher. Or if there is, he's like, nah, this won't take long. I'll just, like, let the fire burn behind me.
Then there are some of those, like, seeker drones. Because then Spider-Man gets out, like, a girder.
He does, yeah.
And like, an iron girder. Which just makes me think of Bender.
Yeah.
And then he just starts whacking them out of the air. Making this just, like, brilliant
like Tom and Jerry kind of, like, sound effects.
This amazing sound effect.
They hit him with, like, a frying pan or something.
And at this point, he's literally... Because they're meant to be, like, smart bombs, basically. Yeah. And he's just, like, whacking them around. He's just, like, lobbing bombs all over the place. And this place is, like, going down.
It's burning up fast. Spider-Man's grappling with the Spider Slayer. It's mentioned before that, like, nothing can pierce it apart from its own acid. And so he's riding it around like a buckaroo.
Yeah, there's a good, like, 20 seconds of him just in the background on this, and he's proper, like, doing the thing with his arm. It's really great, because you can get him sort of doing it once or making a comment, but he's proper doing it for
He's
ages.
getting into it.
It's really great. Meanwhile, like...
People are dying around him.
Yeah, Flash is, like, cowering in a corner because he thinks he's going to be killed, and he's just...
Like, the building is still aflame. Spider-Man's like, no, I'm going to enjoy this shit. So yeah, Spider-Man, like, has his fun, and then he escapes at some point, and starts, like, crawling up the wall. And this is where you get the iconic scene from the credits, where like the green like stuff comes out and Spider-Man slips.
Yeah.
But in this episode, it's black, not green.
Well, presumably it's just oil, right?
Yeah.
But
why would the Spider Slayer have oil?
To slip Spider-Man up. I mean, it's designed for Spider-Man. He climbs on walls. I mean, it definitely makes more sense than why is it a giant spider?
I guess, yeah. But like, that doesn't help the whole fire situation because like there's oil falling everywhere, more fire. Flash Thompson has somehow gotten up to like this weird platform. I don't know how he got there because he can't climb walls.
The Black Widow is still after him.
Yeah,
because
it kind of gets confused.
And it's going after him, and that's when Spider-Man just like lobs some
web cartridges
into its vents.
Oh yeah, because he has to change his web cartridges, and he's forgotten to do it the whole way through. And he could have been doing it at any point, but he decides, no, I'm not going to swing around. I'm just going to stick them into this like booster, these boosters.
And this is a recurring thing. I feel like he doesn't actually say the line in this episode, but him saying, I'm out of web fluid, or I don't have my web shooters on, is just a thing said all the time in the show, because it's always this like ad break thing of, oh no, I'm just going about my day. Oh, Craven hit me in the back. Oh, I don't have my web shooters on. I'm going to fall to my death. Break, he comes back, he quickly changes them.
Or falls in a mattress.
Yeah, or he catches onto a flagpole.
Or like gets an umbrella for some reason.
But yeah, this is a thing that comes up a lot, and it comes up here. And it's part of it's kind of a goofy thing to keep going back to, but I one of the reasons why I like the whole actual cartridge thing for his webbing. Yeah,
like I think it's much more useful having him like just be organically like webbing. That's just weird and creepy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from a movie point of view. If you're just trying to streamline this, it's like, well, he gets all these spider powers, but the webbing is a separate thing that he just designs himself. Just a coincidence that he's also a scientific genius, and
like he's already like, I'm half spider, might as well just finish the job.
Yeah, but I kind of like it. He uses that, which
throws in the boosters,
which clogs up when it tries to like lift off, and it ends up dropping into just
a convenient like vat of acid.
The Joker toxic goo.
And is it at this point where like Norman kind of leaves like Spencer to kind of just like figure it out?
Yeah, I think
wheels away his son.
Yeah, I think during this fight he's like, well, I'll take your son out, and he wheels Alistair out, and Spencer's like, oh, I'll keep doing the things on the computer. I think he must be controlling the Seeker drones.
But wouldn't you just have like a, I guess. But like,
I mean, he's got to be doing something because he's on this big computer. But anyway, it's this sacrificial thing because he's like, I have to do this because I have to capture Spider-Man. If I capture Spider-Man, I get this Hoverchair. If I don't splat Spider, I don't get the Hoverchair. They go out and they leave him behind and leaving Spider-Man to
save Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
And he kind of forgets about Spencer. Everyone forgets about Spencer, except for poor Alistair, who, as he's being wheeled away from this flaming building, asks, is my dad going to be okay? Is he going to be alright? Where's my dad? And the building just explodes.
Yeah, it just answers him.
My father. Did he get out?
It's like, no.
Just the biggest explosion ever.
Perfect comic timing from the building, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to explode right there and then.
And somehow he doesn't immediately turn to Norman and be like, you told him to stay behind. This is your fault.
Well, my dad should have made Spider-Man go splat, so I could have my Hoverchair.
Following after this, we're back at Jameson's penthouse with this destruction caused by the Black Widow. And Jameson, now that he knows that Spider-Man is not going to be caught, he's pretty pissed. And so, of course, he fires Eddie Brock, which he really should have done immediately after.
He should have done ages ago. Like, this guy's an asshole.
Yeah, and he seems like he's ambitious, but that's it. He's kind of a bit of a dunderhead.
His abilities are far, far surpassed by his ambition.
And so he's fired and pretty upset about it. He 100% deserves it at this point.
He was kind of
he got kind of done over last time because he did know stuff about Kurt Connors, and that was a real story he was following.
It would have been an actual scoop.
Yeah, this time he is just deliberately allying himself with some shady people, causing a lot of destruction.
Blowing up his boss's house.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
Yeah.
But obviously Jameson's unhappy.
Like, you should sue him rather than fire him.
And of course, now Flash is here, and he's still in his Spider-Man costume, and Felicia's...
Why would you do that, you crazy son of a bitch?
Yeah, and I thought there was going to be some kind of reconciliation at this moment, but he just kind of walks off and is just get out of my way, Parker, or whatever, as he goes by.
But at this point, Flash is a good 3 inches shorter than Parker, and Parker's just ow, my shoulder.
Yeah, the only thing that's really separating them is that Peter is dressed in a much... He looks like his aunt dressed him a little bit, and he's also got, like, less fashionable hair, I guess.
He's got very large eyes.
And he's always holding a book
Yeah.
to show he's a nerd or something.
And, like, he's got, like, these massive biceps, which gets him listing all these books. And he's kind of just like, hey, Felicia, what did I miss? And Felicia's like, you can't believe you left me for your aunt. And he's like, well...
Yeah.
And it's pretty lame.
Aunt May has been worried about him, obviously.
Obviously, you've been worried about him.
They head off and they go home, and I think she makes another reference to Mary Jane at that point. Like,
yeah, like we can finally go out with that girl. You should have brought instead of me, you giant coward of a boy. And she's like trying to like be like nice and like nudgy about it, but she's coming off very passive aggressive, being
this works in really well because I have some stuff to say about Aunt May later.
Okay, I'm glad we got brought it up then. But yeah. So
following this, we get our kind of
like
conclusion scene.
Yeah, shot
which is Aunt May is Alistair.
I wish Aunt May. That'd be really funny.
It's Alistair. He's just sort of in his wheelchair. He's just
staring at his like father's lab.
Yeah, and they say Spencer is disappeared, which in any other show would mean he's not dead. But I think in this show it just means we can't say he's dead.
Can't say he got blown to smithereens.
He basically is approached by Kingpin, who's like, hey, I'm your friend. I'm not creepy at all.
No.
I'm totally normal. And he's just...
Let me will you away now.
Yeah, he's just like, well, do you want to work for me? And I was just like, no. And he's like, well...
My dad died yesterday.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I can help you make spider slayers so you can destroy Spider-Man. I have no ulterior motive. Let's go. And
that's just my... It's like, isn't that the kind of thing that my father killed like 12 hours ago?
Yeah.
And Kingpin's like, don't worry about it.
Shouldn't I be mad at Norman Osborn rather than Spider-Man?
And Kingpin's just like, shh.
Yeah.
It's okay. And kind of just like wheels him away.
Into the sunset.
Yeah. Ominously so.
Yeah. And then it's a to be continued. Which is kind of crazy for a second episode. But also, you realise a lot of this episode is this setup. Because you got more cast of characters. They clearly realised they couldn't fit it all into that first episode.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit much. So it's like we get some Flash, we get some Felicia, we get some more development with Eddie Brock, we get Spencer Smythe introduced and killed, we get Alistair Smythe set up, we get Kingpin introduced and set up, and then we get Norman Osborn introduced. We get the idea of these Spider Slayers, which will come back later in some form.
It's very well wrapped up, but that's probably the problem with it for me.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't feel like a to be continued episode.
Well, it doesn't feel like it feels like so much of this is the setup. The main goal of this is they set up all these threads, and that was the main focus. Whereas the actual Spider Slayer arc is kind of like, well, it's a
plot device to get everyone in the same room, hating Spider-Man.
And of course, my main memory of this episode, even after watching it again, my main memory of it really is still that one shot of Spider-Man climbing up the wall. Oil's shot at the wall by the giant spider. He falls down, which in the credits then cuts to him falling into the water to fight the lizard, which is a cool transition, and it's just a neat thing from the intro.
It works better in the opening credits than it does here, I'd say.
I mean, this would almost make more sense as not a pilot, but a follow-up to a very standard pilot. That's like, Uncle Ben is dead.
Yeah.
He's become Spider-Man. Great power comes great responsibility. Next episode, they set up all this stuff. It almost feels like
it needed a pilot episode.
Yeah, but again, there's part of me that kind of respects the fact that they kind of thought people would know.
They didn't give a fuck.
Well, they're saying that. I wonder if people... I don't know how... Obviously, Spider-Man is popular, but I don't know if... I mean, I must have known the whole Uncle Ben, great power, great responsibility thing as a kid. We all knew that.
Yeah.
And there wasn't live-action movies then.
No.
And many of us weren't old enough to remember previous cartoons or have read a lot of the comics.
Yeah. Because by that point in the comics, it had escalated to clones, and there was a whole other level of origin shit to go through, and you're like, I don't have time for this shit. But here, they kind of just go with it. The central ethos of Peter Parker is something that's kind of described a lot in movies and being as a central tenet of the character. But it's here without having to actually spell it out, which
is why it kind of without that it kind of just seems you get the feeling that he's a good person.
Yeah.
You don't really get why he's doing anything.
He's just kind of just fucking around people.
He looks like he could just stop being Spider-Man.
Yeah, you got to tell you can't tell that he needs to be doing this. He's just kind of I just want to talk shit to my boss without getting in trouble for it.
Yeah, it looks like because that is part of the Spider-Man character of like having this release and being able to have fun and kind of when things are going right.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be Spider-Man anymore. He still kind of goes out and does it because it is fun.
Yeah.
That is part of it, and something I think that Homecoming gets right.
Yeah.
Of like there being a bit of fun to it as well.
It's what Homecoming nails, which like
maybe leans a little bit too much on.
Yeah, would you say?
Yeah, well, just because there's like these two major factors, which is the fun side
and the responsibility side.
The responsibility tragedy side, and I think they just lean a little bit too much on one side. I think this one, forgetting Homecoming, definitely is only concerned with one side of it.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough because it's
a kid's cartoon. You can't really have like, oh, he actually inadvertently killed his own uncle. That's something too intense to really just dive right into.
But at the same time, they don't really go into anything like that about, as far as I remember from what we got, there's not too many morals to the story other than basic humanity.
Yeah. Don't blow up your boss's building to get a scoop. That kind of like very like folksy knowledge, you know?
Well, there's some interesting introductions in this. Originally, I thought, well, okay, we'll do a little comic book origin, and I was like, well, this is the Spider Slayer episode.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about Spencer Smythe, his first issue. But there's actually like origins of like loads of people in here.
Yeah.
You know?
Which issue is this of?
Well, the first one was Spencer Smythe, and the first one was the Spider Slayer.
Yeah.
Is 25.
Oh, okay.
Which is
1965.
Yeah. But I mean, in addition to Spencer Smythe, we've listed all these different people that are in there, but it's quite interesting thinking about. I always kind of assumed a lot of these. It was still the 90s. Most of the big Spider-Man stories had happened by that point.
Yeah.
In terms of classic stuff. Everything that happened after that, there was some good, some bad, but the 20 years after the point this show was made isn't necessarily hugely necessary.
It's like must-read comic book lore.
Yeah, so a lot of this is covered, so you think, oh, well, they're just remixing it. Like, oh, let's just throw the Kingpin in because he's a crime guy. But interestingly enough, a lot of this actually fits in quite well with the early comics because, for instance, Kingpin actually shows up for the first time in a Spider-Man comic. And the Kingpin shows up quite a lot. More issues than a lot of his classic villains, especially in those first 100 issues.
Yeah.
And also, even Norman Osborn, the way Norman Osborn's introduced in this is actually similar to how he's introduced in the comics.
How's he introduced in the comics?
Well, in the comics, he's tertiary to an ongoing plot where, in this original issue, Spider-Man finds out that there's this scientist who's being released from prison, but he has beef with Norman Osborn.
Okay.
I think his surname is Strom. Forgotten his first name, but he's actually in that first Spider-Man movie because there's the partner,
the one who gets like fucked up by like Willem Dafoe in that first scene.
Exactly, and I think it's that guy, and then I think he worked with Norman Osborn, but then I think he did something illegal, like he embezzled or something. So Norman Osborn just like got him done in and sent to prison, but then he took claim of all his inventions. So the guy hates him. He's out of jail. He makes this rope, tries to kill him.
As you would.
And Spider-Man saves him, but there's this weird dynamic where Norman Osborn's kind of a dick, even though he's the guy being saved. So he kind of, at one point in the smoke, he doesn't want to be caught in the act by Spider-Man, so he kind of like hits him and knocks him out.
Oh shit!
Like even though he's the one saving him, because he knows Spider-Man didn't see it was him, so he can get away with it. And then he later, I think, assassinates the scientist before he can say anything.
Oh god!
But they don't reveal who that is until much later. Maybe when they reveal that he's the Green Goblin, maybe. But there's this similar thing of him coming in at this point, and he's kind of a bit of a douchebag businessman. He kind of has these motivations that kind of make sense, because he is just thinking about himself, and he's thinking about his family, and that kind of thing.
Classic, like, shady businessman stuff.
Yeah, but he's not, like, doing it for the sake of greed or anything.
No.
Well, maybe he is, but it's not wholly that, and he does think he's a good person. And then the whole insanity and goblin stuff comes later. And that kind of seems like what they're doing here as well, which I think is, a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and as far as Flash dressing up as Spider-Man, that is from, I believe, maybe issue 4.
Oh, shit. Reading that early.
Yeah, because straight away, like, Flash is a big fan of Spider-Man, and there's always that just dripping with irony when he's just saying, like, stuff to Peter, like, oh, why can't you be a brave and cool guy like that Spider-Man? And Peter's thinking, oh man, if I didn't have a secret identity, I'd just throw you to the moon right now.
I'd punch you right in the dick so hard like your grandchildren would have like birth defects.
God. But anyway, that sentence, like, I was like, I know where this is going. I know where this is going. Whoa, okay.
That's why. Like,
I thought you were going to say your grandchildren are going to feel it, not just the slightly believable thing.
Yeah.
He damaged his
testicles to the point where like his sperm is now like slightly like deformed.
Yeah, now all his children have red and black corners. Maybe that's why Norman Osborn becomes the Green Goblin. Just revenge for you punched my father in the dick.
You punched my grandfather who travelled time.
Yeah.
Dick.
But
it's very irresponsible of Flash Thompson to go back in time and have sex with a random woman. Now they're just like the hair like chromosome just got like bled out, and now like the body's kind of like, oh, instead of hair we just have blood. So that's how they have like Norman Osborn his scabby looking head.
Part of me wants to like put a lid on this, and the other part of me wants to just watch you
slowly crash and burn.
Yeah, through this very odd side note.
I want to say I'm done, but I know as soon as you start again, I'm going to go again, but I'm done.
But there's this, I think it's actually, funnily enough, in the Doctor Doom issue. So Flash, like, puts on a Spider-Man costume, I think to scare Peter, or to fuck with him somehow, some kind of prank.
Yeah.
But this is also at the same point where Doctor Doom is trying to capture Spider-Man and fuck with him.
Is it before or after Webby?
Oh, shit. You know? Well, it must be, because that's like 11 years later that comic came out.
Yeah.
And it also might not be canonical, so maybe that never happens. But Flash dresses up, he's walking through the streets as Spider-Man. Doctor Doom just like kidnaps him, and he soon figures out it's not
the real Spider-Man.
Not a real Spider-Man, and real Spider-Man shows up and beats him up and wins the day and saves Flash. But I feel like that must be a callback to that. I think they did it also in Spectacular Spider-Man. There was an episode where Flash dresses up as
like
Spider-Man.
Briefly, but that's like a part of like a whole other like plot line where like everyone's kind of figured out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and he's kind of going, no, I'm not. And then Flash is crippled by this point. He's got like crutches on. He's like, I'm Spider-Man, but I'm in crutches for some reason.
I can't remember that enough. It's just you threw me off by the word crippled because Flash actually gets crippled in the comics.
Oh shit, really?
Like, as in he like loses both his legs.
Oh
in,
no!
In the war, and I was
like,
I don't think that happens in the cartoon. So it seems a bit dark, but I mean, he's just sprained his ankle.
Yeah, you miss a bit where like Flash steps on a live grenade and just like blows up. It's like, I don't see that landmine in the middle of the school, and just his legs go. And you see like the blood and guts just fly everywhere.
The blood and guts.
Yeah, of his leg. His leg guts.
I don't know why that's funny.
Yeah, his leg guts sprayed everywhere. But yeah, that didn't happen if you couldn't tell. But no, that's like a callback to the comics.
But going to the actual origin that I plan to talk about here, other than this extra stuff, is Spencer Smythe.
Spencer Smythe.
Amazing Spider-Man, issue 25. There's a few things in here that are similar, but like it's very, very different. Obviously, it's still fairly early on. It's a very simple story. Smythe just turns up to the Bugle.
I mean, sure.
When Peter is present, and he just comes in and goes, "Hey, I'm an inventor. You hate Spider-Man. I have a robot which can destroy him. It's called a Spider Slayer, and what it does, basically, it can track him down because it can track... And it's funny that you said this earlier, but it can track down spider pheromones.
Okay.
So Spencer comes in and he suggests, well, I'll do a demonstration for you. You can find any spider. So I've got this spider in a glass cage.
Yeah.
Is how he refers to it, but it looks like, you know, the mosquito trapped in amber from Jurassic Park?
Oh, yeah?
It looks like that, but like a spider. And he has this, and he just gives it to B, and it's like, it picks up the fact that it's a spider, and it extends all these weird tentacles around and wraps around it.
Yeah.
And wraps around Peter. This is actually Peter's fault. Completely. Because when Spencer first comes in, Jameson's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. You sound like a fucking crazy person.
As you really was, yeah.
Yeah, but then Peter's like, you know what? Like, if I got some like robot to fight me, I took some photos of it. So he's like, sort of like going up to Jameson, like rubbing his back, like, you know, like, hey Jameson, you know, you make Spider-Man look real stupid if you did this. I'm thinking I'll just keep the shit out of this robot. And he really goes him into it, and Betty Brant is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You want to like fuck up Spider-Man? What's wrong with you?
And he's like, bitch, I gotta eat.
Jameson's like baited by it, and he goes, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And this is what this robot looks like, by the way.
Oh God!
Yeah,
Why?
but as I showed Henry,
It looks like a giant, like...
what is basically is this humanoid sort of robot that's on wheels, but it has all these tentacles that like steel. It also has a screen on its face in which it will project a image of Jameson so that he can see through and be seen by Spider-Man as he beats him.
It's humiliating.
Yeah, the idea is like, okay, this thing will track him down, but you can control it, so that you'll get to actually beat Spider-Man.
Like vicariously, like kick the shit out of Spider-Man. It looks like a malnourished peanut.
Yeah, it's a really weird shape. It's a really weird choice, but it actually like creeps me out quite a lot.
I'm gonna see it when I go to see.
I always thought it would be, especially since there's been so many Spider Slayers over the years. There's so many, but I always thought this one would be really goofy. It'll be defeated easily because it's just a one-issue thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually, like, really, like, tough.
It's got, like, J.J. Jameson's, like, cackling face on it.
Yeah, well, that's creepy enough. And it happens more than once as well. When it wraps around Peter, he realizes, like, I can't break out of this. Like, I don't have the strength. So if he gets trapped in that, he's done for.
He's screwed.
And then when it actually starts chasing him, this thing, like, moves around terrain in a really strange way. Like, it extends its legs.
Oh, that is horrifying.
So it's...
Oh my God, why?
Because it has this tracer on him. He can't actually get away. So he's actually attacked by it when he's about to fight in his personal life. He's meant to be in a fight with Flash Thompson.
Of course.
You know, he's like, oh, I'll meet you outside and we'll have a fight. But then he notices this thing is after him, and that it's after spiders, so that would give away his identity, because he has spider in him.
He has spider blood.
Yeah, he has radioactive spider blood. So he has to just like leg it from this fight and look like a huge coward.
Again.
Yeah, and he runs away, and he literally just runs up to the building, quickly changes, and as soon as he's changed into a Spider-Man suit, the robot's there, just keeps going after him, shoots webbing at it, the webbing just like slips off it.
Oh God.
And he can't get close to it because it just wraps up around him, so there's like nothing he can do.
Just run away.
But the way he wins is kind of weird. He gets wrapped up in it and he's defeated. But then on a roof, what Spencer says to Jameson is, well, we need to go get him, because if we tell it to bring it all the way back here, something will disrupt it on the way and he'll get loose from the grip.
It'll come across a spider or something that'll get distracted.
Yeah, well, if we just leave it here with it in this unbreakable grip. So they just like turn it off and they just like walk across town to like go get Spider-Man.
Like hail a cab.
And so Spider-Man's there, but then just the Jameson face just disappears. And he's like, oh, okay. But then he figures out, wait, I can reach around for this control panel, press the off switch, whatever.
The big red button.
But then he does a really weird thing. They come to retrieve him and they find him in the throes of like, you know, wrestling with this robot.
Yeah.
But then when he goes to unmask him, there's no one in the suit.
What?
And it turns out...
What?
I'll show you that.
Oh shit.
Because he could escape, Peter leaves the suit in there, takes the suit off and leaves it in there, and then puppets it with webs.
Yeah.
So that he can move it around and make it look like it's fighting, just so he can trick Jameson to unmask him. Oh no, no one's in it.
Fuck you.
And it actually becomes a plot point because in the next episode he doesn't have a spare Spider-Man suit anymore. Because he had to give up his suit just to do that gag.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Like, he could have probably been like, okay, but he was like, no, I have to fuck with JJ. And I think it's a very good, like, way to fuck with your boss. Because look at his face. He looks fucking, like, mystified.
Yeah, it's great. And he goes out of his way to do it as well. After this point, Smythe actually turns up again, like, a few issues later in the Molten Man issue. Which I don't know if you know about Molten Man, but...
No idea what Molten Man is. He sounds very hot.
He's not that hot, really.
No?
It's a weird thing, because he's just, like, his whole thing is that he's, like, hardened metal.
Okay.
Like, that's what his skin is.
Hardened metal.
Yeah. But he's accidentally created by Smythe. But the funny thing is that Smythe just turns up as just, like, a bystander in this, because Peter has to go to his lab for a different reason.
Okay.
And when he turns up, he's attacked by the Spider Slayer, who's just there, just comes online and, like, wraps around him.
Yeah.
And then Smythe is like, oh my god, why does he do that? He's only meant to detect spiders. And then Peter reveals that he was going to pull a con the whole time, because he's like, oh, it's this huge jar of spiders in the carrier. Because he's got this huge jar of spiders, because he's like, oh, if I go there, that thing's probably going to come at me.
Yeah.
But rather than reveal that I'm Spider-Man, I'll just carry this big jar of spiders, and that'll be the explanation. He shows up then, and then, like, just in the same scene, the Molten Man is accidentally created.
Like, as Peter's leaving, or he's like...
Well, he's wrapped up by the thing at that point, I think. And then he can't do anything to stop the accident from happening. We don't again see Smythe for another 30 issues. He comes up in 58 when there's a Mark II, which also has James's face on it. But it's that version actually comes up later on in this show.
Yeah.
There's a version of the Spider Slayer that comes up that looks quite similar to that. And it has like a screen which projects the face onto it. But that one's a bit different because I think Jameson has some second thoughts over it, like the destruction he might cause. It's not really about capturing him. And then it turns out Smythe is pissed off that he can't catch Spider-Man. So he's actually going a bit nutty and he's like, no, I'll take control.
This is mine now.
Yeah, and he starts getting a bit crazy with it.
Actually, you would. Like, Spider-Man, like, kind of fucks with your head a little bit. Like, being an enemy of Spider-Man just, like, it'll make you very angry, I guess.
Yeah, because it's not just like this guy defeated me, but it's like this guy took the piss out of me relentlessly.
He's talking shit the whole way through.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it'd be like playing, like, Xbox Live, and there's, like, 12-year-old kid kind of just, like, talking smack the whole way through. You're like, fuck this kid. I'm gonna win just to piss this kid off. But he keeps beating you.
I feel like you're drawing from some real experience there.
I'm not gonna get into it now, because I've kind of, like, been kind of told not to by the law. Like, you can't just show up at, like, a 12-year-old's house and threaten to kill him in front of his family.
Oh, right, like that. It's a scene in True Detective Season 2 where Colin Farrell does that.
I've not seen True Detective Season 2, but I don't doubt that for a jack.
It's one of the best scenes. He just threatens a child and then beats up his dad.
It's classic True Detective.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. But
it's probably not relevant for this podcast.
You can't pull that fucking card.
Stay on target, Jack. Like, so much on Malkovich is Spider-Man.
Okay.
But no.
Unless there's anything more you want to add.
Do you have any more, like, Spider-Man lore, or is that it?
Well, I've got something for Weird Lore Bullshit Corner.
It's Weird Lore Bullshit Corner, everybody. Everyone's favourite segment. What do you have for me today, Jack?
It's really easy to say as well.
Yeah. Weird Lorna? A lore corner? Lorna? No?
No.
We'll still think of the name, folks. But, yeah.
I think Weird Lore Bullshit Corner is fine.
Weird Lore Bullshit Corner.
It's just so much easier to write down than to say.
Like a WLBC.
I feel like I'm going to forget that as well, though.
It's got a way of, like, actually, like, memorising it. But no, like, we know what we're talking about, folks. The bullshit of Weird Corner... Oh, fucking hell. Just...
The bullshit of Weird Corner Lore.
Yeah. The Lorna of Weird core bullshit.
Anyway.
This is a goddamn shit show.
Yeah, it is.
Alright, but no. The corner which we will not speak of. What is it? What do we have this week?
We have one of Spider-Man's villains, which I recently read the first issue of, like his origin issue.
Yeah.
Which was in The Amazing Spider-Man 81.
Ah, that's it.
Which is in, it's 1970. At this point, we kind of moved past the goofy era of a lot of silly things happening in the background or villains getting origins which are very brief and corny.
Yeah.
We kind of got into this part where there's these long serialized arcs and villains intertwining. It's getting a bit complicated and it's getting like better and better in terms of the writing.
Yeah. But
then they just dive back into the weirdness for one issue, and it's very strange because it could have easily been like an issue 2 or something, but then it's an issue 81.
I mean, why not?
And I don't know if you've heard of this guy because he hasn't been in a huge amount of like Spider-Man media. I mean, I think they wanted him to work, but he's become like an absolute D-lister. Have you ever heard of the Kangaroo?
The Kangaroo.
Yeah.
So he like jumps around. He's like, "G'day, Spider-Man."
You're joking, but that's literally what happens. I'm really glad you didn't know about this guy.
Oh, this is great. Okay, tell me about the Kangaroo.
But he's one of these characters, because he's a D-lister, he's now kind of a joke, and I know him as a joke from reading these modern comics, where if they need a bunch of villains at once, or a villain who's in jail, or a villain for him to beat up in the first panel.
Yeah.
It's the Kangaroo. Just chuck him in there. He's like sub-Shocker.
He's like one level above like Flash Thompson.
Yeah. Strangely enough, though, the way he's introduced is quite serious. Like, he's not treated like a silly character. The way it progresses, you can understand how this character maybe isn't the most powerful guy in the world.
Really?
Yeah, but honestly, this is just a continuing theme, and this is why I say it could have been in early issues, because it's like the Scorpion and the Lizard and these animal-themed guys, they just turn up, they got brief intro of who they are and why they are the way they are, they have a fight, and then maybe they'll get some more complicated backstory or motivations a little bit later on. And this is back to this early way of doing things. And the Kangaroo, I'll show you a photo.
I'm so ready for this.
I mean, he just looks like this. He doesn't look like a kangaroo.
He looks like He-Man.
He looks quite a lot like He-Man, actually. Yeah.
Like if He-Man was like, I'm cold, and put on this like fur waistcoat.
There's him again, jumping. But anyway, it gets better, because I thought this was one of my potential choices, because the Kangaroo is silly. But I had a feeling that I'd go into it and then it would end up being like not too fitting for weird bullshit lore corner. Oh man, I got it wrong.
It's really wordy.
Weird lore bullshit corner.
WLBC. It makes it much more complicated, but somehow more memorable.
Well, regardless, like this is one of the first issues into the 70s.
We're getting into the long like arcs. It's getting very dark, very like contemplative.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're getting nearer and nearer the end of the Silver Age, you know, with Gwen Stacy's death, where these comic books start to become darker, and then you start transitioning into these like Frank Miller Daredevil comics and Alan Moore stuff.
Oh, Alan Moore.
And then eventually Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and all this stuff.
All these
but there's this whole like transition period that will happen later on.
Yeah.
And we're just sort of on the cusp before this stuff, and this is when this stuff can still get through. But this guy, he's called Frank Oliver.
Frank Oliver, aka the Kangaroo.
Yeah, he's Australian.
Of course.
What do you think his first line is?
Is it like something like "Good Day" or like?
I'll tell you what. He by coincidence he's in the same train station as Peter Parker, who is picking up his aunt, who's just been in Florida for non-lizard related reasons.
You think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't know what she did down there actually.
Yeah.
But Frank Oliver is currently being moved by police officers. He's
at a train station.
His first line is, "So, the Kangaroo's gonna be deported, huh?"
He's already fucked up.
Yeah, he's angry because they're gonna deport him back to Australia. And
so the Kangaroo is his actual like name he's given himself.
Yeah, this is the first time it's mentioned. Like, he's just like,
the Kangaroo.
I think he might be known as the Kangaroo, I'm not sure, but he definitely refers to himself as the Kangaroo. But I didn't even know he was called Frank Oliver until I like looked up the Wikipedia.
Because he doesn't like that name.
But anyway, he's with some officers, and they're kind of nice about it, because when he says that, they're like, "Hey, we never made the rules, man. You're getting deported." That's when he attacks them, and then escapes by jumping away. Because his whole thing is that he can jump really high, but it's not, like the Hulk can jump.
Just like...
It's not. They're just like
they're 5 feet in the air.
They're very impressive. If a real person could do that, I'd be really impressed. But they're still relatively...
not useful.
Yeah, so it's just him bouncing away, and he... and there's a lot of scenes of like him jumping over people and then being like, "Where did he go? Oh, he jumped above us." That's when he jumps away, he gets to an alley, and he changes into the costume which I showed you.
Well, the Kangaroo has a costume.
Well, the one I showed you is his costume. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just like it's just like a furry vest thing that's a bit kind of craveny.
Yeah.
Sleeveless, and he's got a necklace. He's got that He-Man blonde hair. He's not really got a very distinctive look.
No.
And he doesn't look like a kangaroo, because I feel like they knew that was too far. If you look like a kangaroo, it's not. Kangaroos, I think, are pretty scary looking.
They're terrifying.
But if a guy dresses up as a kangaroo, that's not scary. That's
just stupid.
Anyway,
has a little like pouch in like his stomach where he can like hide his guns and stuff.
Well, he just literally all he does in this is jump. That's his whole thing. He jumps.
He jumps.
He's like what's that guy called? Batroc the Leaper. You know Batroc the Leaper?
No.
You do, because he was played by the UFC guy in The Winter Soldier.
I don't.
George St. Pierre.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember Winter Soldier that well.
In the movies, he's like, you know, he's a terrorist or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just flips around a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and he's agile. But in the comics, his whole thing is he jumps.
Is he jump higher or like less high than Kangaroo?
You know what? Someone should find that out. I don't know how you figure that out. But the Kangaroo's jumps in this are really, really not impressive.
They're pointless jumps.
In terms of superheroes, because he can't like jump to the top of a building or whatever. He's just kind of like jumping over people, jumping up walls and stuff like that.
So he'd like come in third in Olympic long jump or something like that.
He's probably got maybe some better jumps than Spider-Man.
Okay.
But, you know, I mean...
Spider-Man can swing.
Yeah, you can do others.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he's in this alley and he's changing into a thing, that's when you get your flashback. And this is when because I read this issue because this is where I was up to when I was reading this week anyway, and I thought, well, I might as well read this Kangaroo issue and see if it's any good. And I thought it wasn't going to be worth covering, because I thought all I'd have is, he's the kangaroo and he jumps a lot and you'd laugh, and then that would be all I had.
The weird little bullshit corner.
But thankfully, his origin is so stupid. Obviously, it starts in Australia. I mean, but the first way he describes it is he's thinking about his powers. He's like, I didn't choose to have these powers. I didn't choose to have the ability to jump really high. And then he says... Then he says, maybe there was something in the air I breathed, the water I drank, back in Australia. Then he just details how he spent his vacations studying the kangaroo. Oh my God. And he, air quotes, lived in Kangaroo Country. He ate what they ate. He went where they went.
Oh my God.
And he spent this time training until he's jumping and he's looking at other kangaroos. He's like, I'm jumping just like them. He literally just trains. Like, he has his Rocky montage, like...
It's him just becoming like peak kangaroo.
Yeah, it's just like this kangaroo montage of him just jumping around until he's as powerful as a kangaroo.
Like jump out the steps of Philadelphia, like in the Rocky films.
Yeah.
Eye of the Tigers in the background.
But this one, he immediately goes, okay, well, I've got this jumping ability. I'm really strong and fast. I'm going to go into professional boxing. So
why? Of all the things,
he's supposed to make money. It's just boxing.
Go for like the high jump.
The thing is here, they don't specify kickboxing. They just say boxing, and then it shows him with this other guy in the ring that's wearing boxing gloves. It looks like it's professional boxing. On Wikipedia, he's listed as a former professional boxer. But at the start of this fight, he immediately jump kicks his opponent. And I originally, like in my notes, I wrote down he jumps on his opponent and kicks them. The Wikipedia entry specifies he jump kicks them, which is why I had to say that. But he jump kicks this guy, and the guy's just out immediately. And then, I was reading this, I was like, what, is this boxing? Like, you're not meant to jump and kick someone.
You'd be immediately disqualified, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not like, oh, you were disqualified or anything, because that would make him look completely stupid. But they just say, is presumably the manager of the guy, he says, I'm going to press charges. If this guy's really hurt, you're in trouble, mate. And the kangaroo, rather than going, whoa, okay, I didn't do anything, we're in a fight, or I'm sorry, or...
He didn't tell me that I couldn't jump kick my opponent.
Yeah, and he runs away.
He jumps away.
He jumps away.
You'll never catch me, Coppers! Bounds away.
But the thing is, where do you think he would go if he was jumping away?
Out of the door, like through a window, something like that.
He jumps out of Australia.
What?
Because he's like, oh, this guy wants to press charges. I gotta get out of here. So he just jumps until he's at the coast, and then jumps onto a ship to smuggle himself out of the country. And this is where you think, okay, well, something else happens, or this is how he came to the US and became a criminal.
Yeah.
And then got deported. No, he gets on this boat to New York. He gets off the boat and the police are there and they're like, all right, back to Australia, and they deport him. And that's when you catch up to the main story. His whole story is him kicking one guy, smuggling himself in a ship to New York, and then immediately getting deported back to Australia.
That's so pathetic.
But then he jumps around, he jumps onto a building, and he's just like, well, you know, they're treating me like a criminal. I'm going to be a criminal. I'm going to steal some money. So he's just looking around and he sees some officers escorting a briefcase. So he goes and he's like, well, you know, there's got to be some money or something in there.
Obviously.
So he attacks them and he jumps on them. He jump kicks them. And he steals the briefcase and he jumps away. And they're like, no, why are you taking that? Don't take it. And he's like, I don't care. And he jumps away. What he didn't realise, which then becomes a news report that Peter Parker sees, is that there's no money in it. It's actually deadly bacteria. It's these vials of this like airborne bacteria that could like just like kill people. It's like a what's the word?
Like anthrax or something like that.
Well, it's like it's a
biological weapon.
It's a biological weapon.
Yeah.
And now he's got that, but he just doesn't know that. And then he finds this little vial, and he's like, "Oh, there must be diamonds in this." Meanwhile.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, Peter Parker, when he met his aunt at the station, he had to like run there and swing there to get there in time. What does Aunt May think of him sweating?
You must have some kind of like fever or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She says, so you're coming home with me and you're going to go to bed because you're ill. And he's like, I'm not ill. I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'm just like sweating. She's like, no. And she goes home. She makes him go to bed. And he's like, I'm not ill like at all. And I'm stuck in bed back in Forest Hills. And that's when he like turns on TV and he finds out that the kangaroo has stolen a biological weapon. And he's like, I can't go and stop this guy because that could be, you know, disaster.
Yeah.
But how do I get out now that I'm in my aunt's house? So,
oh god,
he makes a web dummy. Like he uses his web. This is why I'm like, this is very much like early Spider-Man kind of stuff. But he makes like a humanoid shape out of his webbing.
Yeah. And
he puts it in a bed, kind of like a Ferris Bueller, like.
Yeah.
You know,
like
pretend diamond. Yeah, exactly. Goes out the window and he swings off to go fight the kangaroo. And during the fight with the kangaroo, they face off. Kangaroo holds his own pretty well.
What?
But they do have a kind of get out of jail free card here where I think maybe in the comic he was meant to be actually strong, a good enemy to face, but...
rather than just peak kangaroo.
Yeah, well, he's not even peak kangaroo because he still has, like, human biology. And he's just, like, a really good jumper. And he's a pretty buff dude, but like still...
like Spider-Man would kick the crap out of it.
Yeah, but the way they kind of get away with it is that Spider-Man has to pull his punches because he's got this vial on him that entire time. And he's like, I don't want to like knock him too hard.
Because he'll drop the vial.
Because he'll drop the vial and then we're all fucked. So he kind of gets his ass kicked a little bit because he's like, you know, trying not to like beat him up. And the kangaroo the whole time is just like refusing to respond whenever he's like, you got like the biological weapon. He's like, I don't care, leave me alone.
How will the kangaroo jump out of this one?
The thing with Aunt May, and this is why I wanted to go back to Aunt May earlier, is because she's like, at some points in this cartoon and in the series, the comic series, she's incredibly like emotionally manipulative, but also just so intense all the time. There's always just this constant fear. Like when Peter isn't with her, he's going to bed like having anxiety over whether she's okay, and she's constantly fainting and stuff. And whenever he does anything, she's so worried. She's constantly telling him stuff like, oh, you know how you always get cold so easily. And he doesn't. She's just telling him that.
It's like gaslighting him.
And it reminds me, have you seen Stephen King's It?
The latest one.
Yeah.
I've seen the latest one, yeah. Oh, yeah, like the... Eddie's mum, yeah.
Eddie, who's his whole thing, they cover it really well in the movie, but it's in the book as well, and there's a big thing about the fact that he probably doesn't have many medical conditions, but he has so much hypochondria over the fact that his mum is constantly telling him that he's gonna die.
He's got asthma, he's gonna like get like killed by this or that, he's allergic to this.
And that's kind of what Aunt May is, and she's like this a lot, and she gets like this in this issue, and it goes literally the worst way it could possibly go.
Oh.
Because before he can get back, as you would expect, he defeats the kangaroo.
Really?
And he gets the vial. The weird thing is though, he defeats the kangaroo, but he gets the vial and he hands it back, and then the kangaroo jumps away. The kangaroo's gone. They like back another day, you know.
Jumped his way out of that one.
Yeah, so he can still come back for, and I'm sure he will, but I haven't got that far. But before he comes back, Aunt May goes to check on Peter, and she pulls the covers back, and she sees a web body.
Oh no.
And she immediately just like faints, like just collapses, like, what am I seeing? My son has turned into something.
Yeah.
And just freaks out and faints, and then he comes back and it's like,
oh no, I've killed her.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty intense Peter Parker moment, despite the fact it's all over the kangaroo, which probably rubs it in worse. All this for the kangaroo.
For this asshole, or who I didn't even, like, capture. You somehow escaped my grasp by jumping slightly higher than usual.
After this point, as with most stuff that was invented in this period, you look at the Wikipedia page and it gets quite longer. I'm not going to go into huge detail over it, but the kangaroo, Frank Oliver, does return.
Oh, thank God.
And he's killed.
Is it something really pointless, like he just jumped off a building that was slightly too high and he just died?
No, he dies pretty hard, to be fair. He's hit by radiation exposure and he is incinerated. Again, I can't go into detail about this, but I think it's his next appearance, maybe.
He just gets, like, just obliterated, vaporized.
Yeah, he gets completely vaporized and he's dead. But that's not the last of the kangaroo.
Tell me there's, like, an angry, vengeful son.
Well, no, there's a...
Tell me the kangaroo fox,
For one thing, I think this is actually more modern comic than I've read, and I think I've still got this ahead of me to read because I'm trying to read the modern comics as well.
Yeah.
To catch up the last couple of years. But there was some more clone stuff.
Oh, yay.
With the jackal.
Oh, the fucking jackal.
And the jackal got hold of Frank Oliver's DNA and made a clone.
Tell me there's a spider kangaroo.
I think he just makes the kangaroo again. But
Why?
But then the kangaroo dies again. Because he dies from clone degeneration, which happens to a lot of jackals' clones because they just can't live.
Do you think it knew it was a kangaroo? It was like, I can't do this. I have to, like, die as soon as possible.
But that's the end of Frank Oliver.
Okay.
But there's more than one kangaroo.
Oh my God.
The mantle was taken on by this other guy. I've forgotten his name now. But he idolized the original kangaroo.
Why?
And he studied, like the kangaroo, Frank Oliver, he studied the kangaroo. Like the animal, the kangaroo. Like got their movements and their strength and their jumping ability. This other guy studied the kangaroo, the human. And he studied his like style and his movement and his speech mannerisms. This guy wasn't Australian as well. But he like studies everything about him. And because he wants to be him. And he just takes on the role. And I think there's actually one point where he starts getting a bit crazy and he starts to think he is Frank Oliver. But I think they use that as a way basically just to make him the kangaroo.
Because there's only really one kangaroo. That memorable character.
But apparently he later gets powers. Which I think are just like more general stuff of like, oh, let's give him some super strength or whatever.
Yeah.
They give him a suit.
Oh God.
Which I believe this is it. But it
looks my God.
It looks more like a kangaroo. But it's like a suit and it's got a tail and everything, which, you know, makes more sense, I guess.
I don't think making sense is an option at this point.
Well, it's like, well, you think, oh, the kangaroo, what does he look like? And then you see just a guy who looks like He-Man. But like you think, oh, the kangaroo, and it's like, oh, okay, he looks like a kangaroo kind of.
Like a kangaroo costume.
In the same way that the scorpion kind of looks like a scorpion.
Like you can see what they're getting at.
Yeah. And that's pretty much his... I mean, this kangaroo still turns up to this day. I think he was part of the Spider-Man Revenge Squad at some point with some other D-listers. But I think at this point, the creators know that he's dumb. So they're just like, he's just there as a joke and just like this.
No one really wants him there, but they need another guy. Like,
the
Scorpion dropped that last minute.
He's just some joke. But that's what I know about the kangaroo. Apart from the fact that apparently he does turn up in some TV. He's in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh, yeah?
Which I haven't seen. But
I have not seen either. It's someone after the Spectacular Spider-Man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's still running.
I don't think it's running anymore. I think there's a new one that's kind of replaced it, which is less good, I've heard.
And also, I mean, this is going by Wikipedia. I can't remember this. But apparently, he's in the 90s X-Men cartoon.
What?
But he's like just this background character, and he's a mutant. But he ends up joining Magneto's army.
Like, does Magneto have a choice in it, or is he just something like their little name?
I think he's just like, you know, when they've got like 100 people in the room and he's just there.
And he's like, he doesn't even recognise he's there. He doesn't invite him. He just shows up. He's like, I'll just be here in the background. You guys don't even know I'm here. Please, I need friends. No one will hang out with me.
But I mean, this is just one line from a Wikipedia thing, so that could be complete nonsense for all I know. But apparently he was in it.
I'm hoping it was true. I'm hoping, like, yeah, him and, like, Beaky kind of become friends. Finally, someone with powers as useless as mine. So, everyone, that's the end of the Weird Law Bullshit Corner. I hope you had fun with the kangaroo. And yeah, let's jump into the end of this podcast. See what I did there? Because the kangaroo jumps slightly higher than usual.
There's so much he could have done with that.
Yeah. He could have, like...
We could have competed and people wouldn't have said, hey, you got superpowers. So it would have been like, well, I don't.
I'm just an exceptional jumper.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
Maybe you should have trained with the kangaroo like I did.
Maybe that's what high jumpers should do for the Olympics, is just like train with kangaroos for several years. I feel like if I had kangaroo powers, that's like what I would do with the powers. Or, like, anything other than kickboxing. Like, kangaroos kickbox, I get it, but...
Well, I don't even know if he was kickboxing. That's the thing. I think he was just boxing.
Actually boxing.
He was just like, oh, I'll go box, but then he just, like, goes,
kick people.
I'll kick him. I think he's just, like, that dumb.
He's that stupid. That's amazing. Oh, well, kangaroo, you'll get him next time. You'll jump out of that predicament. Yeah. That's the end of the Weird Law Bullshit Corner. Tune in next week, where we might have another animal-themed... really shitty superhero for Spider-Man to get bothered by. And that brings us quite nicely to the end of episode 2, wherein the Spider Slayer was slayed, a man died in a fire, and most importantly, Eddie Brock got fired in a humiliating fashion, and Aunt May got to watch her stories. Any last words for episode 2, Jack?
No spider splat, no hoverchair.
You heard it here, folks. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. Should we plug our Twitter page at this point, or subscribe to our podcast? That's something you should definitely do.
It will be in the description.
So yeah, read the description. There's some extra reading at the end of this podcast I need you to do for me, folks. I've been your host, Henry, and this is my host, Jack. And this is the end of the podcast. Go about your days now.